a super secret location deep within the mountains of Colorado, it's time to strap up, strap in, or strap on with your host, Shenanigans in One Shot. It's From the Ashes Radio!
It kind of makes sense to me. So
I'm in. No, I'm in.
Comfortable, very good. You all set?
So.
Damn, you look good. You look good. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
How'd you spend your day?
I didn't do a whole lot.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Watch some TV, watch some movies, barbecued some food.
I smelled. I walked in. That's
it's
a lot of cow up there.
I'm getting my butt kicked by a brisket.
Are you?
Yeah, it's winning at least 9 out of 10 rounds right now. So I got started like 2.5 hours late, and now I'm like 4 hours behind somehow. Math and meat aren't at all.
That's how guys like Joe Allen, that like when they watching them do it, you're like, dude, how are you not pro at this? I mean, we're wasting your life on computers, man. You should definitely be going pro with this. So he's really good with what he does. And damn, having that wife too, that all that cooking to go with it. What is it? Oh, it's Nebraska. I was wondering, what's in your water bottle?
Yeah, corn huskers, buddy.
What do you call it? I went and worked out this morning and then
you napped.
And then napped most of the rest of the day.
The best part of the story is when you told me you were like, man, did the Murph, was so exhausted. I went and got a Monster and then took a nap.
Yeah,
you needed an energy drink just to
get to the nap.
Oh man,
I don't do energy drinks all that often. So, but yeah,
you know what? I cheated once, but I am like 2.5 weeks free of energy drinks.
Are you really?
Yeah, I had one like 2 days ago.
Did you have like a blinding headache when you started?
I'm still drinking iced tea, so I at least have the caffeine. But yeah, I didn't feel like great in the mornings.
How has it affected your sleep?
Not much.
No big changes.
No.
You know those blue light blocking glasses?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. No, I've never used it.
So I got a pair off Amazon for like $9.
Yeah.
And
so like the cream of the crop best set.
Yeah, exactly right. And then I put them on at like 7 p.m. every night, and I still am able to like work and get stuff done. And but man, the sleep I've been getting, it's almost unfair. Really? I sleep like a stone, and the only thing that changes is that adding in those things are amazing. So we'll see, but we forgot about you folks, and I apologize. Welcome to From the Ashes on About Face Media. I did not.
Man.
I apologize.
That's on your script. Not
it is. Combat flip-flops, love them. Thigh huggers, love them. Hey, we got a check from Thigh Huggers. It was awesome. I was very excited about this. So yes, so your purchases are helping to fund this radio station. So keep doing what you're doing, folks.
As long as you use your discount code, which is One Shot. I don't know where they came up with that, but it's One Shot. You get like 30% off.
Yeah,
put it in there. It's a huge difference maker.
I wanted to hug and kiss Lance after I got that. Yeah. So that was a pretty exciting thing to get in the mail.
I wonder what the percentage of that is just for me orders.
You and me? Yeah. Yeah, I buy a lot of their shorts too. So yeah, I could send old lady. No, whatever. Memorial Day show, gonna be a super cool one. We have a very, very special edition of the O'Connell West Law on this afternoon. That is going to be a good one. Allie should be here. We have Mike from A Hero Recordings, basically veterans making music.
Cool.
Making records and stuff. He makes records with veterans. So
like he's doing a similar thing that we do.
Very, very, very similar. He has a very large studio set up. I've seen pictures of it. I'm trying to think of who turned us on to him. It might have been Brian Talley. It's one of our other shows turned us on to him.
When we start our country duet on the guitars, once we got this down, you think he'll record us?
Probably not. Probably not. I wouldn't recommend it. What song are we gonna do?
Sweet Child of Mine.
No, Jesus
Guns N'
Christ,
Roses.
dude.
Except for it's gonna
Why do you hate me?
Except for we're gonna redo it country like.
Do I have to buy a cowboy hat? Because you buy nice cowboy hats.
I have an extra one.
I thought you're not supposed to wear somebody else's cowboy hat. I thought it was a rule.
I mean,
I don't know shit about cowboy hats.
It's also an audio recording. You can just tell people you got it on.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
I'm down with that. I've been listening to, oddly enough, a lot of country music. Oh, Doug's already on. That's awesome. Doug's hanging out in the green room. I hate to admit this openly, but I've been listening to country music because of my daughter. She likes Colton Wall, something like that, and some other dude, Tyler Childress. And I've really it's great music. It's like old, like that pre-Shania Twain country music.
There is an era I think we're in right now where there is some new school artists that are producing good music.
I agree completely.
Because we lost that for a little while, I feel like, in country. But recently I feel like there are some new young people singing good music with actual music and not.
Do you like the Garth Brooks and stuff like that?
So, it's hard not to, bro. I'm an 80s kid.
Yeah.
And I'm from small town Nebraska.
I get it.
Yeah.
I feel like Shania Twain and all that kind of ruined what was decent music. I grew up on the Judds and all that stuff. That's what my parents listened to growing up. And obviously Johnny Cash and all that stuff. But and I feel like I can't get into some of this newer, but some of the stuff that's coming out right now, I'm really grooving on.
I like the 2000s and teens. There was not a lot. And all of a sudden, the last 5 years, I'm like, you guys are
stepping it up a little bit.
There's not a lot of them, but there's a good handful that are doing good music.
Well, so we went to see. My wife took me to see, I think it's called Zac Brown Band.
Yep.
And I was so bored. It was just such a boring show.
I heard they're supposed to be really good live.
They probably, if you like that music, they probably are. I mean, they did play a little bit of Led Zeppelin, a little bit of Pink Floyd. I thought that was super cool. But then we went and saw at Cheyenne Frontier Days, we went and saw what the hell was it? Florida Georgia Line. My son loved them at the time, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is like watching Britney Spears attempt to play country music. What am I watching it? It was absolutely awful. So, Dana Miller is here. Dana, congratulations to Brooklyn Miller on her graduation from high school. You have officially passed the easiest part of your life. It is all downhill from here. You owe rent, your car payment is due, and by the way, you have to have health insurance. So, but good luck to you. Yeah.
You're so motivational for the children. Tomorrow's youth is just inspired by shenanigans.
For a very short time when I was recruiting, you would get invited to all the high school graduations.
Oh, yeah?
And these kids are like, I'm proud of you. Great job. You passed high school. Good on you.
You signed to go in the Army.
There's that too. But yeah, these kids, and you're like, we worked too hard. You did? Did you really? Did you? Because it's about to get a lot worse. But yeah, let's see here. Happy Memorial Day. Well, thank you, Dana, for Happy Memorial Day to you as well. All right, so one of our favorite segments on this show is Carl, Combat Carl. If you've been in the military, every unit's got a Carl or a Carla, and so we try to highlight military stories of soldiers doing something stupid. What is this? Oh, and there we go.
We kind of opened it up to news.
News in general of people doing stupid things. Do you want to do this one, or you want me to do it? You've already got it open, so you can go ahead.
This one isn't necessarily a private Carl doing something stupid. We talked about this. We can do private Carl, private Carol, or just Carl. If we just have a civilian that did something so outstanding the last week. But in this case, it's VA Carl.
Yeah. The Department of Veterans Affairs.
And I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, but there was a video put up on TikTok from this veteran.
It's everywhere now. It's not just on the talk, man.
Yeah,
it's all over the gram.
I think he started on the talk, and then it went super viral.
It's a very emotional video if you sit there and watch it.
Incredibly emotional video from this guy who is seeking help, mental health in particular, with the VA, and then he tells his story. And I have to kind of back it up a little bit with my own. But it's like, hey, it took, weeks and weeks and weeks to get assigned a therapist. And then I meet my therapist, and within 3 months, they're reassigning me to somebody else. And I end up in this cycle of I just keep meeting new people and getting evals. And I don't know how much you and me have even talked about this before, but about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now, I went to the VA asking for help, and the exact same story, except for it was almost to the day 3 months before I got my initial consult. So, hey, I'm having a problem with something. 3 months later.
90 days, yep.
And then they scheduled, right? Like this is, hey, I'm the person, I'll schedule with you in a week or 2 weeks, something like that, to do your actual initial, which is like an hour and a half, right? I do my initial. I'm like, cool. I actually get along with this female therapist. She seems pretty cool. We meet the next week. We're supposed to meet weekly, right? The very next week, hey, sorry to do this to you, but I'm actually not going to be in this section of the VA. You're going to get reassigned. But here's the problem. You got to wait another 3 months to meet a new person to schedule an initial.
Yep.
And that's one of the parts in his video that just, I'm like, every single time you go to this new shit or this new person in this company, the VA, it has a terrible attrition rate, and people are just cycling all over, and the system's whack as shit. And then you're like reintroducing yourself to someone. Do you know how frustrating and irritating that is?
Mm-hmm.
Like for anybody in civilian healthcare that, went through their insurance and got a therapist, like I'm sure that story's out there.
I'm sure.
But how many times have you 10 times, because that's not outrageous, have you met a therapist, done an initial, and they said, hey, we can't do it with you anymore. You get another one. And all of a sudden years have passed,
mm-hmm.
right? And you've waited months in between each one. It is absolutely the biggest failure in history, besides maybe the Hiroshima bomb.
The only worse mental health care system than the Department of Veterans Affairs is the active duty military. So I never went to see any kind of mental health when I was on active duty because I had a top secret security clearance. I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to lose a job. I didn't want to be sent somewhere I didn't want to go. And I didn't want to get kicked out of the military. And heaven forbid, I'm like, I've been kind of sad lately. Oh, you have depression, here, have a drug. And oh, by the way, we're booting you out of the service.
Oh, man.
And I know too many people, and they publicly, if you watch the news and whatnot, they're like, we don't kick service members out for mental health. We give them the treatment. That's total bullshit. Everybody in the military knows someone that lost a security clearance, one thing or the other. And so, the only thing worse than the Department of Veterans Affairs mental health care is active duty militaries. And VAs is awful. One of the best things I did when I got out, I immediately started with the Headstrong project.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out Headstrong, you absolutely should. And they assigned me a person. Her name is Jenna. I see her down in the Springs, and I see her every 2 weeks, and she is super cool, man. And that's the thing is I've had continuity. I've been out for now 3 years. I've been talking to Jenna for 3 years. She's awesome. Nothing but good things to say about it.
That's awesome. And that's how it should be.
Exactly. And that's what this guy's frustration is.
And he's just definitely at his ropes end. So if you haven't found it, I mean, we'll post it up, but then also you can just literally YouTube veteran upset VA.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video, you really should.
It's
moving, to say the least.
You know how it pops up on my feed?
Tell me.
Is Tom DeBlas's page. So for you jiu-jitsu people out there,
if you don't know who Tom DeBlas is.
Know who Tom DeBlas is. If you're not, then you might not. But incredibly successful jiu-jitsu guy, gym runner, coach, professional fighter. At one point, he was a very top prospect. But he does a lot of community stuff where, like, if he sees a video go viral of a kid getting bullied or beaten up, he seeks them out, helps get them, some free jiu-jitsu to help bully-proof them. Works with all sorts of different things, and he saw that, and he reached out to try and do whatever he could, and it came up into his reel like, hey, I'm trying to find this guy, which is just another thing I just love about the jiu-jitsu community. But also, it was,
I agree,
that's how it popped up in the mind.
There is no better community for your mental health than the jiu-jitsu community.
But it's also
they will choke the dog shit out of you and then be like, how you doing, bro?
How you doing? Can I help you out? Yes, I could have murdered you a minute ago. I just thought that was cool because obviously most of my reels are things that pop up. My algorithms are military, jiu-jitsu, and I won't name the other ones because they get polite.
Yeah, mine are poorly clothed women as well. Yeah, keep talking.
How do they find us? It's not like we search for that.
I was going to ask my daughter-in-law that today. I'm sitting on the couch today after Murph, and I'm kind of scrolling through things and whatnot, and it's a ton of women with, not enough clothing on. And I'm like thinking to myself, does my 21-year-old daughter-in-law get the same things on her feed? Does she get like partially clothed dudes all over her social media?
I don't know.
How does that work?
I did decide that the wife no longer needs Google.
Why is that?
Everything she's ever been searching for, she has found. But she also doesn't need to have naked dudes popping up all the time. So
that's so awesome. I love what you just did there. Hey, Patrick Styles there. I was talking about you today. So Dana Miller says, this subject makes me so fucking mad. This is exactly why I changed my career path. Dana, there are very few people I know that do better and more things for the veteran community than you do. Never stop what you're doing. And can you post a link? It's not hard to find. Yes, I can actually. I probably can post a link. Let me do that right this second.
We'll definitely put it on the.
I'll bet I can do that right now from our. Hang on.
From the Ashes page. Yeah.
Copy link, and then go back here. No, that's the wrong one. Go here, and post it here. It's hard to watch, so careful with what you're doing there. It's tough. Love your show, Nathan Hucker. Nate, come on, man, Nathan. There's got to be so many more better things you can be doing with your time right now than listening to this show of all things.
He spent time in a foxhole with me, so he's definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's got to be significantly more entertaining things.
Yeah. So either way, back to the basis of the subject, which the VA is just incredibly poorly ran and failing our veteran community. That doesn't mean shut down, become a fucking opiate alcoholic.
No, the opposite.
Do the opposite. Just like reach out to a brother and don't feel like, oh, it's for somebody else. Go hit motorcycle relief program. Go find there's thousands of nonprofits out there that want to and have the resources and are just waiting for you to show up and take advantage of something they've worked really hard to put together. And I feel like by not going, you're kind of shitting on your veteran community because those people are putting a fucking fuck ton of work in. Like, it's a lot of work to set these up, to raise money, to put these programs together, to go do really fun, good therapeutic, community building activities.
I agree completely.
Anyway,
Holly Miller, hello, and thank you for being a part of the show. Holly, it's so good to see you again. I'm so glad that you're up and running, girl. Holly Miller was one of the coolest people I ever got to be a part of with the 571st Medevac. She's just super cool. The number one obstacle with these veteran nonprofits and programs that are trying to help veterans, the number one thing, and it can be anything. Well, you see it with like We Defy and Mission 22 at the gym, at the academy. Every time, hey man, I can get you a scholarship so you can come try jiu-jitsu. Oh man, there's somebody that needs that way more than I do.
Right?
No, dude.
No.
It is for you. You are why I am here. You are the reason I strap a gi on. You are the reason I ran Murph the other day. It's for you. Catch a Lift Fund, whatever it may be. Motorcycle Relief Project. Stop saying Guitars for Vets. You're exactly right. For whatever it is for you. Stop thinking the other person needs it more than you do. They exist. Project Healing Waters, if you want to go fly fishing. Any one of those programs is there. It's for you. And it's for a very, very specific reason. It's for you to go get, I don't even want to say get help. It's for you to realize that you are not by yourself. When my buddy Jason took his life, the first thing that his wife said to me was he felt like he was alone. I had a standing appointment on my calendar. I called him every month. Hey, dude, what are you up to? Do I need to come kick your ass? How you doing? Things like, the thought that he felt alone, I just don't understand it. And I get it. I understand. I felt that myself. But the thought that he took his life because he felt alone, everyone wants to help you. Everyone wants to be around you. That all these programs are there for you.
But I do also understand the feeling of lots of friends, family, groups, things around you, and still being able to feel alone.
Yep.
That does exist.
I agree.
And I don't want to take away from that either, but
I agree.
And that's why I think, separating yourself from that for a short amount of time to go do something really fun that's focused on like, let me feel gooder or gooder. Let me feel better.
That was the most infantry statement you've ever made.
Folks, I promise you, I did not graduate high school and I'm a GED. But I scored high.
Nathan Hucker, I just watched so I can see One Shot's shorts.
We got the camera too high.
Yeah. He's not sitting in bubblegum today.
Yeah, just, and I want to say a focus group, but like, you know, when you're going to do one of these activities, you have a focus on what type of mission you're trying to accomplish, right? Like rather it be learning to play the guitar a little bit, or getting better on a motorcycle, or learning to hunt with a bow better. You know what I mean? And like those are all fun skills to have, you know.
But that's not why you're right. But that's not why they exist.
Totally.
You're exactly right.
But that's what you're doing something I feel like that takes away the sitting in a circle, holding hands, singing fucking Kumbaya.
That is not how veterans communicate.
It's not at all. It's so fun.
That type of therapy, I'm sure, works for a group of people.
I'm sure.
Not our people.
No. Put me in one of them.
Yeah.
Tables will get flipped.
Yeah.
Telling you right now.
I agree completely, dude. It's not. Well, I'll tell you what. Hang on. So Doug has been chilling in the green room for a minute. I'd like to bring Doug in for a variety of reasons, but Doug is a combat veteran as well. And I'd love to bring him in on this conversation as well, because he has a perspective as well. Doug's been around the block.
I'm in, but I'm taking a 2-minute break. I will be right back.
Do your thing, man. Go do your thing. Doug, what's up, man? How you living?
Hey, Rob.
It is so
all good here, man.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be back. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. But I'm very glad you're here. So, how are things at O'Connell West?
Well, we're staying busy, and that's part of the reason you haven't seen me in a while. You've, I think, run through every other lawyer that we have on the team a couple times, and now I finally have the chance to get back.
I hope your whole team is celebrating today and taking the day to spend time with family and rejoice that they're home and got to be around their fam. I hope.
I think they are. Rob, you know this. Everybody on our team, with the exception of attorney Lori Dramala, is a veteran. And we have a new addition that y'all haven't met or heard about yet, but Heather Ford is in our Fort Hood clean office as a legal assistant. She's also not a vet, but everybody else is a veteran, and they know exactly what today is really about.
No question, absolutely. I'm not surprised by that at all, and I'm sure they're doing good things. Rich with the new baby. I love watching his videos of his baby walking and stuff, and it's just great to see. Your team is so much fun to watch, and we love having them on the show. Did I lose you, Doug? I hope I didn't lose you. It looks like you're frozen solid, bud. But that's okay. But yeah, folks, if you have not had a chance to see that video, I did post it in our chat. You can click on it. You can watch it. Is it our internet or is it Doug's internet that froze up? Because he's frozen solid. I don't think it's ours, because ours is still working. But
yeah, it looks like we're still up.
Yeah. So because I'm still broadcasting. But yeah, Doug, you're more than welcome to log out and come back in, and we'll be good there. And we'll bring you right back in. What do you call it? When I worked at the VA for a very short time, I would have, because is he back?
Yep.
Did we get you back, Doug? Hang on, let me add you to the stream again. Did we get you back?
Can you hear me?
So you're a little choppy, but yeah, I can hear you.
I've upgraded to the better Wi-Fi here, so should be good now.
All right, you're good, man. What do you call it? Yes, love your team. Nothing but good people. It's an important holiday. Have you seen the video of that veteran? Having a hard time with the VA. Have you had a chance to watch that video?
I think I have, and you were talking about something that I think is incredibly important, which is a couple things, actually. Reaching out to friends today and battle buddies to check on them and check in. And we I think as a veterans community, we underestimate how important that is. But here's another idea I want to lay out. Tomorrow it'll be Tuesday, and it's the day after Memorial Day, and the entire world goes back to work, and they go back to the daily grind. And for our community, there are probably dudes and dudettes out there that are still weighed down by the weight of today and the baggage they carry. And so tomorrow is another exceptionally important day to reach out and check on folks.
Yep.
And so I throw that out for people to consider, because everybody else is going to move on. And it's business as usual. It's the daily grind. It's rush, rush, rush. And some people will not have fully processed what today means, and their associated guilt and depression and the weight they carry, and they haven't unpacked their rucksack yet. And so all that weight is still going to be there tomorrow. And so tomorrow might even be a even more important day to check in on our buddies.
I have a very good friend. The way he checks in on people, it's really funny. Whenever the phone rings, and it's always like, hey man, I'm trying to change the headlight on this Ford F-250 and I can't get this bolt out. You got any suggestions? Dude absolutely knows how to change the headlight on an F-250. He's calling to say hi, and he's calling, he's shrouding it in something else, but he's just calling to say hi and check in and make sure everybody's above ground and doing the right thing. And that's even more important, I think. You don't have to call your friends and be like, what's up, fag? You gonna kill yourself? How you doing?
Right.
Just say hi.
And I like the whole angle of, I'm calling because I need help on something which you might not really need help on, but that makes the person on the receiving end of the phone call feel valued and important and needed, which is all part of the recipe to keep our buddies here.
Doug, this is why I talk to you. You're very insightful. I like it.
So let's talk about lessons learned from the Sergeant Daniel Perry jury trial.
Okay, yeah, man, we've been waiting to hear about this. Now your peeps didn't tell us what verdict and sentencing or anything to that extent. They wanted to let you come on the show and talk about it. So it's all yours.
So let me lay it out for a minute. 3 years ago now, over 3 years, a little bit more than 3 years ago now, Sergeant Daniel Perry, stationed at Fort Hood, was down in Austin driving Uber to make extra money. His shocking DFAS had messed up his BAH, and so he wasn't getting his BAH paid correctly. They had stopped it completely. And so he's trying to make extra money. And he's driving around all over the city for the better part of the entire day. He goes out to the airport, North Austin, South Austin, and he's also texting with a gal who he had driven on an Uber fare earlier in the day. And she has re-engaged him and wants to hook up, wants to have a romantic rendezvous.
Good on him.
So, Daniel Perry is like any other infantry soldier I've ever known. And his mind completely is taken over by the idea that this woman wants to hook up with me. And that's what he's concentrating on. And he's texting while he's driving, and he shouldn't have been doing that. And he makes a right turn on red, an illegal right turn on red. We've never disputed that. And he turns right onto Congress Avenue. So that's the main road in Austin, Texas. Runs from the river to the state capitol and beyond. And so it's like the main street of Austin and the state of Texas. Makes that right turn, and immediately he's surrounded by a crowd. And what has happened, unbeknownst to Daniel, is he had driven into a protest march. Most of the people who were out there protesting for Black Lives Matters. Other people were protesting in support and solidarity with Portland, and it was just this festivus of grievances, if you will.
Okay.
And this dude comes up to him in a hurry with an AK-47 strapped and carried at the low ready. So in Texas, you can carry a long gun as long as you're not brandishing it. You can carry it openly. And so this dude comes up with a AK-47 at the low ready and starts to raise it. And Daniel had his own pistol in the car, and he shoots this guy 5 times center of mass and kills him, and then drives off in about 40 seconds. As soon as he's left the crowd, he calls 911 and pleads for help. So that case, well, the homicide detective in Austin, the most experienced homicide detective and most professional homicide detective the Austin police has ever produced, a guy with 27 years, 18 of those years, he's been a homicide detective. He investigates the case and determines Daniel, it was a legal shooting. He was legally justified and he acted in self-defense.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our district attorney, who's a far left progressive DA, decided to indict Daniel and take the case to trial. So at trial, they built the case primarily on tweets and messages from Daniel's social media post. And so there is the lesson. The lesson for all of us is to be very careful about what you say on social media, because that can come back to haunt you in a criminal matter. Daniel was convicted at trial. The jury was out for about 18 hours, and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. But that's not where the story ends. The governor of Texas almost immediately tweeted out that he is anxious to pardon Daniel. And as soon as the Board of Pardons and Parole forwards their recommendation, which is required by Texas law, he will pardon Daniel. We're also going to be appealing, and we're also going to fight for Daniel to get an honorable discharge. The Army has decided that they want to, despite what the detective says and what the governor says, the Army has decided they want to try to separate Daniel with a other than honorable discharge. And we're just not going to take that laying down.
Doug, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
A lot of questions. Dude, I'm like, what?
So, I mean, I read and dive into so many different things. I know I read this one.
I have not.
But I have not freshened up at least on it. So
Yeah,
I knew like the news, bulletins on it. And I just think man.
What has happened in our society where someone can point a gun at you, you shoot them because you're better at what you do, and now you're going to go to jail for that for 25 years? And despite the detectives saying,
and I think Doug will know this better than me, but I believe,
probably.
but I believe if you feel threatened, and I don't find anything about an individual holding an AK yelling at me not threatening, that you're able to protect yourself, and that's deadly threatening. He's got a fucking AK. It wasn't like he was just standing there with his open hand yelling. Then you maybe don't shoot him, but
yeah, well, low ready, and the dude was Doug. You said the guy was picking up the firearm. I mean,
yeah,
what man.
The muzzle was rising from the low ready, moving upward, and Daniel had
cameras and video and all kinds of proof.
Yeah, he had 0.2 of a second to react, and he did what exactly he's trained to do. The story gets even worse if it wasn't bad enough. We discovered immediately after trial that one of the jurors had decided to do their own outside research about the law of self-defense over the weekend break. And so this particular juror comes in and brings copies, printed copy, at least one printed copy of what he thinks is the law of self-defense. And he talks to 2 or 3 other jurors and says, hey, check this out. I've been researching, and the way I read this, the defense has to prove self-defense. Well, in Texas, and I think this is true in most states, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. The government has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and that includes proving or disproving self-defense by beyond a reasonable doubt. And so on top of all the other problems with this, we had the jurors getting outside influence and reading law and bringing law into the jury room that was 180 degrees opposite of what the law actually is.
My bigger concern, Doug, and I understand that you're approaching this from, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'm approaching this from I'm a citizen of the United States. Our cities have fallen apart. I live in south of Denver, and it is just a crime-ridden city, and all of the cities around it. We have a couple of our cop friends who are listening to the show right now that work in some of the suburban cities and whatnot. Those cities have fallen apart. You can't walk down the streets. You can't walk down. You've been to Denver once or twice.
Yeah.
You can't walk down the 16th Street Mall without being accosted by just dirtbags. There's no other way to just scummy people that I would rather do drugs than get any kind of help or move into a house or be a productive member of society. And the thought that you can't defend yourself from these scumbags without the risk of some jerk off DA wanting to say, and I think I can say jerk off, right? Can I say so? Is he a jerk off? Can I say jerk off?
Oh yes.
Wanting to convict an American service member for defending himself. I can't imagine. Was the good sergeant? Had he ever been deployed?
Oh yes, he had done a tour in Afghanistan.
So he's had an AK-47 before.
Yeah. And he reacted and did everything the Army had trained him to do, everything you and I would do. And he did it exceptionally efficiently and skilled.
As he's been trained to do for years.
Exactly.
Himself and those around him.
And you know what else? Like he said, effectively and efficiently, etc., what he's trained to do. There wasn't like 5 random people shot too. Like one dude that threatened him.
He did his job correctly. man, this pisses me off.
Yes.
Defended himself.
So
our listeners are having a minor meltdown. What was in his social media that got him convicted, Doug?
Excellent question. This is the important message for the veterans community. Daniel viewed the whole BLM movement, I think this is fair to say, as when it started to get violent, as anti-American. And he saw that the violence, not people expressing their First Amendment rights, but the violence, the rioting, the burning of cities, the hurting people, he took an exceptional dislike to that and posted things anti-BLM, specifically anti-BLM in regard to the violence and the looting and the burning.
That's making my concern even worse.
But the government, the DA's office, was able to twist that and make a case that Daniel was just looking for an opportunity to have an engagement with protesters or rioters. So they were able to convince a jury that, again, we had the whole outside research problem, but somehow they were able to convince this Austin, Texas jury that he went and provoked this. Somehow he was able to drive all around the city and figure out where this protest march was actually going, even though the route wasn't publicized. And even though this was a Saturday night in Austin where there's lots of people on the street, somehow they convinced a jury that he wanted this to happen and he provoked it and therefore wasn't entitled to self-defense. And so it's a huge problem. And again, there's a couple lessons. One of the big lessons is be very mindful of what you post on social media. The other message is, and this is especially important for guys and gals who carry a firearm, whether your state is licensed to carry or concealed carry permit or constitutional carry, if you find yourself in a use of force situation, absolutely contact the police as soon as you can to report what has happened, but you need to say the bare minimum. I used my firearm in self-defense, and then after that, the next thing you want to say is, I'd like to speak with my attorney before saying anything else. Because even in Daniel's case, because he was convinced he didn't do anything wrong, he sat for an extended interview with the detective. And even though the detective determined Daniel was legally entitled to use self-defense, the district attorney's office took that interview and again manipulated and twisted his words. And so even if you believe that the police are going to give you a fair shake, that doesn't matter. You can't afford to say anything until after you've linked up with an attorney and gotten some high quality legal advice. And you know, I've said this before on the show, we're based in Austin. If you have a state criminal law matter in, say, Nebraska, we're not licensed in Nebraska. But if you need help finding an attorney in a different state where we're not licensed, we'll absolutely take the time. If we don't know anybody already, we'll take the time to research and figure out who the go-to person is for your jurisdiction. And we already, Nebraska, Georgia, California, New York, we already have a network of people we know and trust and respect. And so that's not super hard. And we'd be happy to help people. And not just for self-defense, for any legal matter.
Well, first of all, I want to keep talking about the Good Sergeant's case. But since you decided to go that direction with it, give your contact info so people can figure out how to get a hold of you.
Yeah. So our main office line phone number is 512-547-7265, 512-547-7265. Ashley Heisler, paralegal, will answer that call, and she will take good care of you. And she will get you to the right attorney on our team who can square your situation away or tell you you really don't need a lawyer and you ought not to give us a bunch of money to try to help you with your non-problem. But
Ashley's gangster. I love that chick.
Ashley's the point of contact you need. And you can also reach Ashley at O'ConnellWest.com, or you can reach me at Doug at O'ConnellWest.com.
So, God, this is so frustrating. We obviously, because we're a nonprofit, we don't indulge in politics in any way while we're on the air. However, the thought that because I disagree with someone politically and I happen to share that on social media or whatever medium I so choose, that can then be used against me later. Oh my God, that is so frustrating.
Yes, exactly. And it's almost as if our First Amendment right to post our opinion on social media is now in threat, because if government doesn't like your conduct, they're going to dig through years and years of your social media history to figure out if they can tie your opinions and attitudes into a criminal case.
Oh my God. How do you, I'm assuming you talk to the good sergeant on a semi-regular basis. How is he doing? How's he holding up?
He's devastated. You know, he is in custody and he is not doing well at all. He is struggling, frankly, to be very honest. And he is, you know, he's aware that the governor has said he wants to pardon him. And he's aware that we're working on an appeal. But, you know, those things take time. And nothing moves as fast as he would like. And so it's very frustrating and very, very difficult for him to deal with. Did I lose
Doug,
you guys?
We
There you
hiccuped.
are.
I'm so sorry.
We're back.
Our internet farted. My fault. What were you saying? You're talking about how he's doing.
Yeah, he's not doing well. He's not doing well at all. He knows the governor wants to pardon. He knows we're working on an appeal, but those things take time. And meanwhile, he's sitting in a cell. He also, you know, if you would like, if the listeners would like to send a note of encouragement, you can send those to Ashley and we'd be happy to deliver them. And I think that would make a tremendous impact. If there are people listening who feel so inclined, Daniel needs financing because he's still got a huge legal fight ahead. And so you can look at his page on Go Get Funding, not the other one, but Go Get Funding, Daniel Perry. It's a picture of him on the front with a dorky Cav hat.
It's the most Green Beret thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's like the guy's still sitting in jail. We'll still crack some.
Yeah.
We're still talking. We'll shit about where
He got 25 to life, and we're like ragging on his hat.
Well, so it'll on that page it'll show he raised like 153,000. Let me tell you, that's long gone. That money that you see is long gone. It is ridiculously expensive to defend yourself in a murder case. We had to hire a bunch of expert witnesses. We had investigators out there finding people. So he could use every donation he can get.
Okay. If you can send us that link, we will share that on our media as well. You know, I'm not worried about us getting, you know, somebody using it against us later.
You know what? That was perfect too, because I was just waiting to be like, what can listeners, us, what can we do to support him? How can we help? You know, and so I'm glad you already answered those, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rob, I'll send you our physical address, and then also Ashley's email address. Whatever is easy. A 1-paragraph note, like from you know, fellow soldiers or veterans, telling him to keep his chin up. I think that would make his day.
Well, and let's think it all through. You are very good at what you do. You're going to clearly win an appeal, and the governor is going to pardon him, and you know, Santa Claus is going to give him the thumbs up, and you're out of here, dude. Now what? He's not in the Army anymore, so he's unemployed. He needs a job. You know, where does this guy go from here? I feel he needs a whole lot more than we can. Yeah.
So if the governor pardons him, then our effort on the appeal will stop because there's nothing to appeal. The conviction is quashed.
Okay,
and
good.
Expunged. Yeah. And so that's the ideal situation. But I'm not willing to count on politicians of any stripe and color, you know?
I love you.
So we're going through, you know, we are already started working on the appeal. And
some of our listeners are asking, does he have a family? Is he married, kids, anything like that? Well, I hope not if he's hooking up with some chick.
Yeah. No, he's single, no kids. The the Army moved him from Fort Hood to Fort Wainwright shortly after this incident because he was getting death threats from the activist community in Austin. And so they had to get him out of Texas. And so
their First Amendment rights weren't affected in any way. The district attorney isn't going after those folks.
It's weird. Worse than that, Rob. After Daniel shot this guy, there was another guy 50 feet down the road, and I cross-examined him in trial, and he admitted that he couldn't see where the shots were coming from. He could hear them, but he didn't know if they were going into the car or out of the car. And so when Daniel was able to drive forward, when people scattered, this guy decided he'd take his own pistol out of his ankle holder and shoot Daniel's car to mark it for the police, this anti-police protester. And so he fired 3 rounds at Daniel's car at close range, hit 2, and then actually skipped one off the pavement that hit the underside of Daniel's car. And again, remember, this is on Main Street in Austin, Texas, and that guy was not charged with any crime at all.
And Chris Jewell sums it up nicely. He says, "Who uses an ankle holster?" Good call, Chris. You're exactly right. Yeah. What kind of nozzle uses an ankle holster? Doug, this is the most frustrating thing I've heard in a very long time. I adore talking to you, but dude, you've got my blood pressure like over the top right now. Good Lord, man. Okay. Well, yeah. Give the contact information for the law office one more time, and then give the contact information so that we can send stuff to the good sergeant. Not charged shooting into an occupied vehicle. Our listeners are like super pissed off right now, Doug.
Okay, so our main office, the headquarters, if you will, the mothership is Austin, Texas. And we also have offices now in San Antonio. That's where Trent Warner operates out of. Fort Hood, Killeen area, which is Ollie Mintz. Wesley West, who I think was on last week, is almost ready to announce the opening of our Taylor, Texas office. So Taylor is a suburb of Austin where the new Samsung plant is, gigantic Samsung plant is opening, not super far from the Tesla plant. A big growing part of the Central Texas area. And there's more expansion in the future as well. The entry point into all those different offices is our main office. That number is 1-547-7265. You can also email Ashley, common spelling, at o'connellwest.com. And then you can find us, we have a new website up that is already outdated because Trent's not in the group photo, but it's O'Connell West. And then you can find social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, that sort of thing.
I'm going to spin this just a little bit. Go ahead.
Fails. Rob has the number.
Yes, but I will never give out Doug's number. But yes, I do have it. But I will refer you to Doug. I will give him your number. So yeah, I'm happy to reach out to From the Ashes. We will definitely hook you up. Doug, I want to spin this a little bit. You and I got out of the Army at roughly plus or minus the same time, roughly. I am so proud of you and the success that you have had since you have left the Army, and watching you grow this from like just you and Wes to what it has become. I can't tell you how proud I am of you and the things you have done, especially for the veteran community. What do you call it? Let's say that there are folks that are listening right now that are like using their Chapter 31 or their Chapter 35 benefits, and they're thinking about going to law school. Any advice for them? Or did I lose you? Man, your internet sucks, dude. That's why I'm never moving to Texas, because your internet sucks down there. He's gone.
Yeah. All right.
Rob,
Still there?
you-
I got
me
you.
back.
Nope, I guess
Me
not.
back.
Man, the internet in Texas is terrible, bud.
Man, I thought I had it bad out here.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
right?
me now?
Yes, sir.
Rob, okay. I think you were asking about advice for people to go to law school.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my biggest advice is you got to make sure you really want to be a lawyer, because it's a lot of ass pain going through law school, and then you spend your life dealing with other people's problems. And so I'll just throw this out there. If you're thinking about going to law school, either me or any one of my lawyers would be happy to speak with you and give you a better understanding of what to expect. And we'd be happy to schedule that call. Hey, I think now I can see a question popped up.
Yeah, our regular listener, Chris Jewell, who also won our skateboard from Raid Skateboard, wants to know, Doug, thoughts on companies like US Law Shield or Alphabet Soup USCCA?
Yeah, U.S. Concealed Carry Association. So I don't necessarily have a preference between either one of those. I'm signed up to be a responding attorney for, I think, both of those organizations and a handful of others. The important thing you have to realize is that if you do regularly can carry a firearm, you absolutely have to have an insurance program like one of those. Daniel Perry did not. And so what those organizations do is you're basically buying an insurance policy so that if you have legal issues related to your use of force, they will cover your expenses. And that's critically important because you can go bankrupt defending yourself from a use of force incident.
I'm glad they're out there.
No, I have always dismissed them, but because of Chris Jewell and now Doug answering that question, maybe I'll give it a relook. So, but yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's critically important.
Okay.
And if you're a law enforcement officer, you better have union coverage or some other program, especially if you live in a jurisdiction like Austin, where it's very popular right now to indict cops.
Well, a lot of our listeners right now are cops that are you're talking to right now are police officers. So good on you and excellent use of your opportunity. Hey, Doug, we are coming a firearm trainer, huge believer in CCW insurance companies. Doug, we are coming to the end of the show. So
no,
end the show with
no Allie. What's up with that?
It's Memorial Day. We gave her the day off.
She's off today.
You're the only one we made work.
I was so excited to be in front of Allie because, when you follow Allie, it's a drag and it's hard.
Look, I can't keep my people working 24/7, Doc. I got to give them a break.
Yeah. And that's why part of the reason I'm glad to be here tonight so that none of my other folks had to take time away from the family. But I'm not going to go before making the plug again. We've talked about this. We need you guys to come down to Austin so we can do the show live from O'Connell West. We got to get a date locked in.
Yeah, I just started walking this month, so we'll get it planned out.
Yeah, now that he's moving around again, we were definitely going to put that together.
All right.
Only because I want to come ride motorcycles with Trin.
Excellent. Guys, thanks for having me on.
Well, hold on, man. You ain't out of the woods yet. Oh, you're welcome anytime, by the way. It's time for our safety brief. And so you got to pick something, Doug. This should be easy for you. Yeah, it's time for the end of the show safety brief.
So is this this is a new feature that I've not caught in the past. Is it like I used to do as a military commander?
Same.
Yes.
This was all his.
So
we each have something. You don't have to give the whole safety brief. You just give us one good safety brief bullet point.
Yeah. Well, so here's one of my favorites. You know, nowadays we're in the day and age of Uber. There really is no excuse to drink and drive because you can always call an Uber, and that way, you know, you avoid even the risk of getting arrested or hurting somebody in a DWI situation. We represent a tremendous amount of veterans who don't listen to that advice and end up in legal hot water and having to pay a whole bunch of money that would be better spent on doing fun things or taking care of their family. But they make that bad decision to get behind the wheel after having a few. And so Uber, you know, is the best way to go. Uber or whatever ride share you choose can keep you out of a lot of hot water, and it can keep you out of my office.
I heard your office is expensive, so that's some good advice.
But I like your office. What about Rob? Think about it like a drunk driver. No one is going after the insurance company. I see where you're going.
Next turn, it's you.
Me?
No, I got one.
Okay, cool.
You go?
Yeah, but
Okay,
so go ahead. All yours.
No.
So we just finished Murph, and everybody did a workout, ruck and roll. You may have hit the mats for jiu-jitsu this week, whatever it may be. Hydrate, folks. You gotta hydrate. And water. I understand that Coors is basically water, but you gotta hydrate with some water, folks. So stay hydrated. It's all yours.
If you have a friend who only drinks tequila, it's not the friend you're going out with tonight. Or any night.
He always has the best ones. Hey, listeners, we're always looking to you to help us out with the safety brief. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Doug O'Connell with O'Connell West Law. He is going to give the phone number one more time.
512-547-7265.
Folks, it's been an amazing Memorial Day. I hope you remember your friends. Doug, thank you for taking the time out of the day to be a part of From the Ashes. Same brother, I get you. From the Ashes on About Face Media. Stay in touch with tomorrow. Invite your friends out for coffee. Give them a call. Say hi. Check on them. Tomorrow's a tough day too, just because we've had a lot of attention today. Man, we're still getting blown up on comments here. Hey, Doug, thanks a lot for being a part of the show. Listeners, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Go to Thigh Huggers. Go to Combat Flip Flops. Go to Gaining Health Chiropractic, one of our newest sponsors who we like a lot. And, of course, go check out O'Connell West and send the good sergeant a message of support. Doug, thanks for being a part of the show, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
Good night.